Hello and welcome to another edition of A Better Life. I'm Dr. Lucas Fry, and it is political season. I know you all are saying, is there anything else you talk about other than politics? Well, not when it's important. And a lot of people say, well, who cares about Baker, Louisiana? Folks, Baker, Louisiana is the epicenter of East Baton Rouge Parish. If it happens in Baker, it affects you. And everything that goes on in Baker is very important to everybody that lives in our area. This is where it's all happening. You got a school system that's went from a D to a B in just the last year. You have new businesses that are coming into town. Huge growth going on in Baker. It's like the place to move to. Just like it was 20 years ago, it's back. And there's a lot of change going on. Of course, we have a new mayor candidate, or a new mayor going to be elected here in March, and we have a new chief of police going to be elected. Two top city officials have retired, done a great job, leaving our community with a good record of taking care of everybody and keeping them safe and growing the city. I know I've been here 4 years. I've seen nothing but growth in the last 4 years in the city of Baker. And all kinds of road construction going on the main drag through town right now with a whole bunch of new crossovers and stuff that the state's putting in. Businesses are really caring about themselves and really sprucing up. New businesses are moving in. We got new strip centers that have opened up and new businesses that are moving into town. Just a lot going on. And the reason people want to live here is because it's the safest city in Louisiana. I'm telling you, I say that for a matter of fact. People can walk down the street at night, go jogging, don't worry about getting mugged or robbed or raped or anything of that nature. This city is protected. It has a great police force. Actually, it has quite a few police officers, and the person that's in charge of the police department is a critical position. That person is responsible for keeping all of us safe in Baker and continuing this tradition of safest city in Louisiana. I mean, it's just a place that you just hardly ever hear of anybody getting killed. And it's just amazing. I mean, it's a good, safe town. With me today is a person who's going to run the city as chief of police. He hopes. He is a candidate for the chief of police. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Carl Dunn. Carl, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Fry.
Carl, why don't you just look in the camera there and tell everybody about who you are and where you come from.
Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Carl K. Dunn. I've 28 years. I've been here 27.5 years in Baker, Louisiana. I moved here June of 1988. I've raised 6 kids here. I still have one at home. That's my baby girl. She's 14. I've did 32 years with the Baton Rouge Police Department. I recently retired. I retired as a uniform patrol commander. I served in multiple administrative positions, also multiple positions doing patrol, K-9, and numerous different divisions. But I'm a law enforcement type guy. I'm pro-police 100%. I am pro-safe city. But one of the biggest things I'm pro of is fairness for everybody and the utmost respect to every citizen we come in contact with. And I want to continue the tradition that Baker have as being the safest city in Louisiana.
Fantastic. Well said. You said your biggest challenge in life is a teenager. You got a baby girl, you said.
Oh, yes, sir. I got a 14-year-old, but she's a little angel. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Oh, good.
She's a little angel, and we have 6, but I wanted a little boy last, but my wife, we end up with a little girl, and my wife say, I think that's enough. But she plays sports, which gives me opportunity to help coach and the coach. And we just love her to death. They just grow up so fast. And I've done some mentoring. And so I've always had little boys to go fishing with me. But I got 4 girls and 2 boys. And I raised all my girls fishing, all my boys fishing. But when my girls get teenagers, they just tell me, Daddy, if we're not going camping and fishing, I'm not just going to get out to bed and go fish with you in the morning. So I have to keep extra partners with me, youngsters, to fish with me.
That's great. That's
yes, sir.
Great. Baker is where you said you've been here for 20-some years.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you've raised kids. Did they go to school in Baker?
Yes, sir. I've had, the only one that hasn't gone to school here in Baker would be my baby girl, Colette. She has. Well, she did. She went to St. Isidore until it closed.
Uh-huh. What is it about the city of Baker that made you want to raise your family here?
Well, I'm originally from Port Allen, Louisiana. I joined the police force in 1983. I moved to Baton Rouge in '85, and I purchased my house in Baker, Louisiana in 1988. What I love about Baker is it got just enough country to make me still feel I'm a country boy, but I'm close enough to everything. I love my neighbors, I love my neighborhood, and I love just being close to everybody that you really care about and that's supportive of you and I get to be supportive of.
What do you what do you see as your primary challenge with the city of Baker if you get elected chief of police?
Well, I don't see a major challenge because there aren't many complaints with this police department. Like you say, it makes Baker one of, if not the most safest city in Louisiana. My only thing, and that's just from interacting with the citizens while I'm on the campaign trail, is I get different stories from different citizens. And the majority of my complaints are just the same as with Baton Rouge. When we left the 80s and got into the 90s, we got into a process of trying to police and interact with the community. And I call it a process of alienation is what I call it. And you see it here in Baker. You see the dark tinted windows. You see an indifference on a traffic stop where a gentleman might have a shaky bulb, and you're almost as old as me, Dr. Fry. I know I've had 2 cars. If I hit a bump, the light might go out. But if a police officer stopped me, if I went and tapped that light, he'd say, Mr. Dunn, can you get that fixed? Yes, sir. To me, the contact with the public is your #1 supporting goal, your contact with the public. I believe in 100% positive contact with the public at all times, whether you're arresting them, citing them, taking a complaint from them. Every interaction with a police officer who is a public servant that's paid to serve and protect, and when you sign on the line that I want to be a police officer, you answer that question during the process about 50 times. You tell them, I want to help the public. I want to serve the public. Sir, that's why I want to be a police officer. My biggest joy was my contact with the public. And I want to instill that in every officer that works for me, even if you have to cite them. I don't want you to drive off and them to drive from side that road feeling as though that police officer gave her the most raw deal that he could have given her.
Excellently said, I tell you. We're going to talk more with Carl as soon as we come back, but right now we have to take a short break and then we'll be back to find out what his plans are for the city and making it even safer. Stay tuned, we'll be right back for some people who care about us, our sponsors. Welcome back to A Better Life. I'm Dr. Lucas Fry, and we, of course, are talking with Mr. Carl Dunn, who is candidate for the Chief of Police of Baker. And this is A Better Life, a place where you can learn about things that are going to affect your life and have a better life. And if you want a better life, move to Baker, because Baker is one of the safest cities in Louisiana, if not the safest. And it has been said, I've been here for 4 years and never had any kind of trouble. But we've got a new police chief that's going to be elected, and Carl is running for that position. And we were just having a discussion about how people are treated differently. And I don't think it's any secret that across the United States, we've got a massive problem with black and white. And the one thing that I have seen in Baker, Louisiana, and I'm an old white guy, and I go to the post office or I go in a store, everybody here seems to treat everybody with equal respect. When I do a lot of traveling, I go to New York, I go to major city stuff, I don't get that same respect as far as just, you know, saying hi to somebody and let it out. Everybody kind of scuffles off or whatever. You don't see that here. The Baker seems to be, but the root of the problem, or if you go out and really talk to people, black on black crime or white on black crime, or the way police officers treat blacks differently than whites, talking about pulling over. If I was driving down the road and you got pulled over and I got pulled over, who's going to get the ticket?
I am.
Yeah. So that's just, I mean, it's just a fact of life. How are you going to make it better in Baker?
If I could instill importance in my officers to interact on a positive note with every citizen they come in contact with, and could actually show them with actual results that I've done this, you will fall in love with this. And I started this program before I retired over uniform patrol. Being over such a large, which is the largest division in the police department, I was a supervisor over 537 employees.
Wow.
I put 32 extra officers on the street in different zones, high crime areas. And I gave them directives. And I say, if y'all want to work for Carl Dunn on my special program, you got the police like Carl Dunn police. Let me tell you, I like to speak third grade level so everybody understand Carl Dunn. I want 40 contacts a day. I want 0 tickets. Listen to me well. 40 contacts a day, 0 tickets. You will not learn the names, the addresses, and everything there is to know about the people that we are paid to protect and serve by standing there with those dark sunglasses on, with a Herman Monster frown on your face and writing them a ticket. You're going to ask them, how you doing today, ma'am? Is there anything I can help you with, ma'am? Is everything safe on your street? Is there a particular time, ma'am, is noisy on your street? Ma'am, can I help you with your groceries today? You're going to stop. You're going to help them change their flat. All of that is positive interaction with your community. When you got that going for you, first of all, your heart opens up to the people you serve and protect. I believe in working with your heart. When you open your heart up, okay, then you'll let some of what they're feeling into your personal heart, okay? And then you can kind of put yourself in other people's shoes. But you need to understand one thing. All of this contact with these citizens, all of this contact works for the better good for everybody in that community. I am proud to say, for more than 22 years, I worked some of the highest crimes areas in Baton Rouge, and I absolutely loved it. I actually had a lieutenant, and I didn't understand it. But he went to his psychiatrist. He came back with a note that he couldn't come back to work until he got transferred from the precinct I was working. And I'm like, well, something must be wrong with me. I come to work smiling every day. But let me tell you a secret, and this is the biggest secret that I was glad to learn. If you take the worst street in Baton Rouge or Baker, and there are 53 houses on that street, at the most, you will have 3 houses that may have some family issues, some poor supervision problems, of course, poor performance in schools, because that's from the supervision and everything. Okay, but that bleeds into other crimes and other activities that affect all of the neighbors, those 3 houses. But if it's 53 houses, and this is what I challenge all my officers, how do you want to meet the other 50 families? And I'm not just talking about 50 houses. I'm not talking about 50 people. I'm talking about 50 families. How do you want to meet those 50 families? Do you want to meet them by going in there and doing a 2-line burglary report because the house got burglarized, but you wanted to hurry up, go on that dangerous street, quote, dangerous, unquote, street, write that 2-line report, stole the TV, left? Or do you want to meet those by writing them a traffic ticket for license plate light out, shaky headlight, like I mentioned prior, rear brake light, one of your brake light signals is out. You want to write them a ticket. You want to show a total indifference to their loss from a burglary. You want to write an accident report that it takes a traffic engineer to understand, because every statement they gave you for the accident report, none of it's in there. It's all backwards. You do not meet the people you protect and serve like that. But let me tell you what's something. If you go there and you take that accident report and just show a little more concern and leave that car in front of that house, and you go and knock on this neighbor door, you go to the next house and knock on that neighbor door, you go to the third house, knock on that neighbor door, guess what the daughter's gonna say? She gonna pull on her mama house coat. She said, Mama, that police car out there, but that policeman, he left. She gonna say, baby, he's down the street trying to find out who stole our VCR and who stole our TV. But not only are you showing that little girl a different side of the police officer, you're showing that mother that can't afford to just go out and replace all the electronics stole out of a house, but you're showing the neighbors that you're taking that burglary serious, that you're gonna do all you can to solve that burglary. You're gonna lift fingerprints, you're gonna canvass the neighborhood, and all of those neighbors gonna say, you know what? A police officer never came here. As many houses we had broken into, many times my house got, he always sped off and I got the report. I say, he'd put nothing I said in it. But officer, you really care. So when I knock on that door and ask them if they seen anything, you know what they're gonna say? Thank you, officer. I remember you coming for that last time to help my neighbor. And officer, I did see something. the crime will be so much easier to solve when you're working with the community. And you're working with a community that you didn't meet on a bad note. You met them by showing your concern and showing your interest in their well-being.
Well said. Well said. Too many times we meet through circumstance of something bad.
Yes, sir.
And it sounds like you've got a really good idea
Yes,
to get people out there to get to know their neighborhood
Yes, sir.
before they get started. We'll talk about how many officers are on patrol now, how many he plans to have on patrol, and what other changes he would like to see done to improve the city of Baker when we come back. Right now, a word from our sponsors, people who care about a better life. Well, you got to say one thing. It's been an exciting show. It's always nice to have guests on that don't need me to ask them what to say. I mean, they have something to say, and that tells you a lot about the character of a person, too. Because if they know in life what makes them happy, then they know how to go out and make you happy. And I'm seeing that in this particular person. With us today is Carl Dunn. He is running for a position of police chief of the city of Baker. For those of you who don't know where Baker is, if you haven't heard already, it's the epicenter of East Baton Rouge Parish. This is where it all starts. This is where it all happens, and this is where you should be living, in the great city of Baker. And of course, we have the best church in the world. Bethany Church is right here, so you can come be a part of that family, and just a great place to live. Carl Dunn, of course, has lived here his entire 20-some years, and after moving from Port Allen, has served the city of Baton Rouge as a police officer for many, many years, retired, and now wants the job of chief of police. We understand a lot more about you as a man. Tell us exactly what your plan is, the things that you're going to need done, and you're going to try and get accomplished to move the police force forward here in Baker.
Moving the police force forward would be, I don't feel it'd be a difficult task at all. But as far as particulars, the gentlemen that are on patrol now, I'm not sure how they're running their shifts right now, but that would be easy for me to pick up on running such a large division, large bureau under the Baton Rouge Police Department.
Right, you had what, you said how
yes,
many
sir,
people you ran up there?
537.
537
yes, sir,
uniformed officers were under your direction?
Yes, sir.
And how many are in the city of Baker?
30. Yes, sir, 30.
I think you can probably handle that then.
Yes, sir, I think I can.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir. But as far as particulars, as far as operational plans, I would have to look at the budget, look at what we can afford, look what we can't afford, and look what we can maybe find some grants to improve. I want to, all of my officers be involved into the community. I want all my officers to contribute and try their best to give back. And I want to, if possible, when it's time to recruit, I would love to recruit from within Baker, which would be easy for me because everybody that asks me, that tell me they're looking for a house and looking for somewhere good to live, I always recommend Baker, Louisiana, because that's why I love it so much. Baker's my home, and that's where I'm going to live, and I've always tried to get all 6 of my kids to make up their mind to live in Baker.
Well, Baker is a wonderful city, but let's stay on task with what
Yes,
exactly do you need? Have you had a chance to evaluate the police department as far as the equipment? What kind of an inventory you have, or is that something you can't do until you're elected?
No, sir, I won't be able to do that until I'm elected. Yes, sir.
But on the overall surface, do you see anything that really needs attention?
No, sir, not at this time.
Well, and what's your personal opinion of the retiring police chief? I guess you've known Naps for years?
Oh, yes, sir, and he's a very nice guy. He's done a wonderful job in Baker, and we thank him for his service. And from what I hear, he's moving to Zachary, but he was living on Deborah Drive, on the other part from me, so I'd love to keep him as a neighbor.
All right. Anybody you particularly endorse for mayor?
No, sir. I think we have 5 wonderful candidates, I can tell you that, and I think each one of those can move the city forward.
And, of course, you have to work with that person a lot.
Oh, yes, sir.
So I guess it's probably smart not to pick one until you find out who it is.
I can tell you my motto, and guess what? It keeps a smile on my face every day of my life. I can work for anybody, and I can definitely work with anybody.
I love the story you told off camera a while ago, and I'm going to let you share it again. and it reminds me a lot of myself. I don't know how many times I call the wife throughout the day, or loved ones, and say, it's been a great day. I had a lot of people call and say, man, thank you for what you do. And you were saying that money really isn't everything.
No, sir, not at all.
You get paid in thank yous.
Look, it brings a joy to me, and I wish it did to you know what? It would bring a joy to everyone if they would just reach out, and it goes back to what I said earlier, opening up their heart. And as the district commander, before I was Uniform Patrol Commander, I was the district commander of 1st District, which is the highest crime area in Baton Rouge. I loved it. That was my home. But what I started in 1st District, I started an elderly check program, and I went around to all of the churches, and I sent my supervisors, and I went personally, but I wanted to solicit a list to anybody that they might think that's in their church that may be being abused. Make her just use a little knock on the door to check. But I started an elderly check. I also started a domestic violence check in which certain incidents would happen in a certain household would trigger my supervisors making phone calls or revisit to that house. But my favorite part of being a precinct commander, I sat down every Friday after the third Thursday, and I typed up a full-page single-space letter explaining that I'm Captain Carl Dunn. Your safety, your well-being, your quality of life is in my hands. And if we can just talk, and if we can just meet, and if you can just share with me any concerns you have, and I would type that up, and I would print up 200 of those. And as part of my duties, I'm a street guy, I always will be. I took that self-made handout, and I went door to door every day. And I hosted a town hall meeting every third Thursday at the Delmont Library. And I always invited everybody I met to because I want to know what's going on. I don't want to meet you with a ticket. I don't want to meet you with a complaint. I want to meet you. I want to show you my heart is open to you. But I want us to get on the same page when it comes to your safety, your quality of life. I want to ride down the street. I want to see you on your porch reading. I want to see you in the front yard in your flower bed. I want to see you in the front washing your car. That makes me smile during the day. But if I can come and knock on your door and sit on your front porch before it gets too hot and talk to you, I call my wife on the way home many evenings, and I say, baby, you know your husband just works for a thank you, right? She say, yes, you tell me. I say, well, baby, I know I had 60 thank yous today, and you talking to the richest man on this earth. I just love my job.
Wonderful story. I look forward to seeing the results. I wish you the best of luck on the campaign.
Thank you,
and I do in life too. I hope to see you out there on the street. I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll have a mayoral candidate coming up next week that we're going to be speaking to for the city of Baker. So you be sure and tune in and learn more about who's running in that race. Until next time, remember, you can have a better life through Jesus Christ. We'll see you next time.
You can let me.